Gul'dan versus Thrall.
For Doomhammer, your soul shall be mine!
One dose solves any problem.
I raise, you fold.
Format, then you've come to the right. Today, we're going to look at 3 places you can't go and people who went there anyways. But before we get into those stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do and we upload once a week. So if that's of interest to you, please gift the like button a brand new puzzle, but don't tell them you've secretly removed 2 of the pieces. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's stories. Just before midnight on August 20th, 2012, a 19-year-old college student named Rose Marr and her best friend, 19-year-old Elizabeth Nass, walked down Main Street in their hometown of Ellicott City, Maryland. It was their last night together before they each would head back to college in separate states. And so to cap off what had felt like a perfect summer, they decided to grab a few beers, despite being underage, and head on over to their favorite hangout spot, a train trestle that ran over Main Street. A train trestle is literally a bridge, but for trains. Now, to be clear, this train trestle was not like some secret daredevil hideout spot. Lots of people knew about it. Lots of kids in town, including Rose and Elizabeth, had been up here many, many times. And while there was an active train track that ran across it, the ledge on the trestle where everybody would sit when they were up there was several feet away from the tracks, kind of safely out of the way. You could be up there looking down over the town, and a train could literally pass right by you and not affect you. So overall, it was safe. So Elizabeth and Rose climbed up onto the train trestle and took their seats along the ledge, safely away from the tracks. And then they cracked open a few beers and began talking about their upcoming semesters. They talked about which classes they were going to take and what they were looking forward to and really how much they were going to miss each other. And then at some point, Rose pulled out her phone and she took a photo of her and Elizabeth's feet dangling off the trestle. Basically, the photo captured their feet kind of hovering over Main Street. Then she posted that photo to Twitter. And then as soon as she hit post, she and Elizabeth heard this loud screeching sound coming from right behind them. And when they turned around to see what it was, something huge smashed into them, and then it went black. That loud screeching sound was the sound of a train passing by right behind them. But remember, the tracks are set far enough back that, the train, it couldn't hit them. And in this case, the train was not the thing that hit these 2 girls. Instead, it was something truly unfortunate that happened to them. When that train passed by the girls, it partially derailed. Not a full scale, like cars going everywhere off the tracks, but instead, several of these cars basically toppled over to their sides. And some of those cars that toppled over were carrying thousands of pounds of coal. And these were open cars. You can literally see the coal as the train goes by. And so as the train's going by, those cars topple, all this coal comes out, and the coal smashed into Rose and Elizabeth and fully buried them. It was like they were under an avalanche, but not of snow, of coal. And so by the time the girls were pulled out of the coal, they were already dead. Rose and Elizabeth were the only two fatalities from this derailment. Their families would later sue the railroad company alleging negligence, and each family would receive a settlement, though the exact amounts were never disclosed. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and so in honor of that, I wanted to share a quick story about my own mental health. So back in 2017, I got out of the military after several years, and I really went through a sort of identity crisis. So much of who I was wrapped up in being a Navy SEAL, but now that I was out on the other side, it was like I didn't know who I was anymore, and I didn't even know what job to get or really what to do with my life. And it was sort of like this existential crisis that really sent me into a very dark and depressing spiral. But instead of seeking help or telling anybody about it, I began sort of lashing out at family and friends and just kind of being a downer everywhere I went. It wasn't until my family and friends, because they loved me, stepped in and said, "You really need to see someone," that I finally understood the impact I was having on other people and how bad things had gotten for me. And so I did go out and I spoke to a therapist. And at first, I admit, I wasn't sold that this was going to be a big solution for me. But pretty quickly, having that neutral third party to kind of bounce ideas off of and gain perspective from really changed my life, and it set me on a course to where I'm happy today. I still see a therapist, but it's therapy that got me to this place right now, this equilibrium I have reached. It's because of therapy. So if you're struggling right now, I would highly suggest thinking about therapy as an option. And a great starting point for therapy is BetterHelp. Primarily because it's entirely online. So it's very easy, it's accessible. All you have to do is fill out a quick survey online, and then within 2 days, they'll pair you up with a licensed therapist. And if for any reason